back, and this time he didn't come to play. He did not come to play this time, you guys. We're going to talk about it. Dexter Resurrection, episodes 1 through 3. Get your drink, get your libations, get your snack, because we're going to be here for a minute. Get it, don't be timid when you in it, apply that. Love upon it, give along, need it. My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? And y'all, so far, this is Chef's Kiss, and I don't want to speak too quickly because I know shows can disappoint, but so far, these first 3 episodes, y'all, it feels like the real thing. It feels like the real thing. We got so many cameos. I mean, we got the damn Ghosts of Christmas Past over here, but we're going to get into it episode by episode. Keep me honest. If I missed anything, please drop it in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You know, hit it by faith and know that you're going to love it over here. There's a ton of content, but let's get into the episode. Dexter was in the coma, right? We find out that he's been in a coma for 10 weeks, and he awakens to Angel Batista sitting right there like, oh, you awake now? You awake now? You know, I'm happy you're awake now, but also giving side eye because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of tea. There's a lot of things we need to talk about, Dexter, or Mr. Lindsay, whatever you're going by now. I have questions. We discover, of course, that the Dexter's ex, who was a cop, is no longer there. Harrison has left town immediately kind of after the events, and he's there just alone to recover. Now that he's out of this coma, we discover that the snow is really what kept him alive. If we had to be in that cold climate, at least it kept him living. You know, he has full memory of what happens, and actually during his convalescence, I guess, he's visited by all of these different ghosts from the past, right? We see the Trinity killer, we see damn Miguel, we see Harry, of course, which we're always going to see because Harry's going to be that voice on his shoulder helping him to get through. And Trinity is like, what did you expect? What did you expect? You were born in the blood, your son was going to be born in the blood. Your biggest mistake is that you thought you could have it all, and you couldn't, Dexter. You can't. People like us, we don't get it all, Dexter. So this is what you get. And your son's going to be just like me, basically. And then we have Miguel talking about, you know, Dexter's passions and, you know, crimes or whatever, how they affected other people, how there were so many casualties as a result of Dexter's fixation and his behaviors and activities. And then, of course, Harry is there, just kind of be the voice of reason. You got to get up, you got to get it together, you have to go find your son because it's not over here. And of course, Dexter's taking the mindset, my son doesn't want to see me. He did this to me. Clearly, he hates me. Meanwhile, Harrison has made his way to New York, and he is working in the hotel, doing whatever he can do, pretty much playing concierge to namely one guest, Ryan, who he's procuring help for and just being, you know, whatever he needs in the moment. But he's also made a friend, Elsa. Elsa is a single mother who works at the hotel, who actually lets him know which rooms are vacant so that he can stow away. Harrison really has at this point is Dexter's truck, if I can be honest with you. That's all he has. And again, he's just doing his job around the hotel. And honestly, I don't know what I feel about Harrison Kinslayer. I don't know yet. I'm waiting for there to be more to him. I mean, clearly he has a conscience. Clearly there's some morality, and he probably gets that from his mom. But also there's this side to him, but this side to him is much different than the way Dexter operates, right? And there's a lot of conversation around sociopathy versus psychopathy, and what the differences look like, how they're nuanced, how one, of course, has this air of charm and mystery and ingratiates themselves in situations, and the other lacks all of that, lacks all human emotion, empathy, all of that. And I really find that they're both on a spectrum, but they're really very different, even in their motivations and how they're driven, to me. Inherently, Dexter, from the time we meet him, it's something that's a necessity. That has to be, right? He has this need for blood, and it's got to be quenched. On the other side of that, Harrison seems to be more reactionary in the moment. Like, this person was wrong. I need justice. And so this is what happens. And as a result, it kind of results in a crime of passion where Dexter is much more methodical, right, with it. Anyway, Harrison, of course, is concierge to this Ryan Foster guy who is this bigwig in the hotel, tips very well. And he also earlier that day meets a young lady who's there for a conference. This is her first time in the big city. And, you know, he's like, well, if you never need any tips or any place to go, I'll let you know, girl, you're good. Well, that night, Ryan and this girl are together. She's falling all over herself. And Harrison sees and is like, hey, what's going on? Everything okay? You need any help? No, my wife, she had a long, night. I didn't know you were married. Well, why would you know I was married? Just help us get to the damn room, Harrison. And Harrison's looking like, I don't know. Because again, a lot of his justice and his code seemingly is going to center around women and the mistreatment of women. We got that in New Blood, right? With this man who was unaliving all of the indigenous people and all of the women there, and how outraged he was, especially because his mother was a victim, of course. And so now we see this, and immediately in the moment, we see him react. And he takes out Ryan Foster, baby, chops him up and doesn't burn the pieces, which again, if we're going to be chopping up bodies, here's the thing. He needed a little bit more time with Dexter. He needed a little bit more time with Dexter to figure out how to do everything properly. Now, he did a good job, right? He did a decent job, but not so decent, because where was the nearest incinerator? Dexter gets there 2 minutes and he finds the incinerator. I'm just saying, Harrison, Kinslayer, if we're going to do this, you have to do it right. So anyway, he takes the guy out. He gets the girl back to her room. She's clearly drugged, so she doesn't know. He takes apparently the body to the kitchen, chops it up, puts it in bags, puts it out for trash. Well, one of the parts gets out of a bag, and so immediately now we have the police invested in the story. Now that Angel's really had time back on the home front to talk to Dexter, he's like, you know what? I got to be honest with you. Your ex-girlfriend down here said she thought you were the Bay Harbor Butcher. Quiet as is kept. LaGuerta told me you were the Bay Harbor Butcher, Dexter. Now, what's the truth? What's the truth? Also, I made it so that you could get your name back because I unfiled the death certificate. Remember, because I filed that for you because we all thought you were gone, right? So, and we find out, I took Deb, I took her on the boat. That was the last time we see you. The storm came and I just needed a fresh start. I needed to process things. I needed to get away. All right, that's not good enough for Angel. And we know that. So now Dexter is getting his PT and the nurse tells him about this crazy thing that happened in New York, right? They found this Playboy chopped into a million pieces, and it was 9 pieces specifically. And so immediately the wheels start turning in Dexter's mind. Who else knew? Who did I teach that it's got to be in 9 pieces? And he was like, immediately, Harrison's in New York. This was Harrison. I need to get to him because Harrison's not fully trained, and he's not. Harrison is just a walking disaster, but clearly he has a heart. So immediately he's like, I'm getting in the shower. Angel's there to talk to him. The nurse says he's in the shower. Dexter done stole somebody's car and is on his way to New York. Because that's all it took, and I'm on my way. And so back, of course, Angel's like, that's the longest shower ever. And so now Angel's got to go on this mission because clearly he's not there as a friend capacity. This is an investigation, and I need to find out. And so now we further cemented Angel's mission to really discover what Dexter did, who Dexter was. I will also mention, just, for note, that Dokes did also visit. I was not a Dokes fan, but it was good to see the actor come on and basically tell Dexter, I wasn't completely right about you. At the end of the day, you do have a code, you do have a moral, code that you live by, stand by, all of these things, and so follow that, lean into that. And so as we go into episode 2, Camera Shy, we meet Big Red. Immediately we meet Big Red, and this is our first official serial unaliver that we meet in this new series. And he has an issue with rideshare drivers. We know this and learn this by way of Stanley, who is a Haitian immigrant who loves his kids, loves his family. And the man asks him, who will miss you when you're gone? And immediately it's strangulation, it's beheading, it's all of the things. And I'm like, well, dang. And again, this is Big Red with an issue for rideshare drivers. Dexter gets to the city and immediately is playing Mr. Fix It, because what did you do? Where did it happen? And what do I have to do to fix it, right? Because It's a mess. Behind the scenes now, on another note, we meet Charlie, played by Uma Thurman. I'm going to call her Kill Bill for just the sake of reference throughout this review. So just get that in your mind. I love nicknames, and that's going to be her nickname. And so she is out clearly extending invitations, stealing people's souvenirs, dropping off bags of money in different locations. And we later discover that she's working for someone, right? And we're planning a get together where all of the serial unalivers can get together and share their stories, share their best practices, and find community, because even serial unalivers need community. Harry is really trying to get Dexter to go and just basically talk to Harrison because that's your son. At the end of the day, that is your son. And right now he's probably lost, probably doesn't know what to do. And it would be nice for you to get here. And of course, Dexter is battling with this notion and idea that of the fact that he took me out. Took me out. He hated my stinking guts. Why am I going to go and confront him now when what I can really do is just fix all this for him and just watch him from a distance, right? I'll be like his guardian angel and I'll just watch from a distance, clean up his messes, and make sure he's okay. Throughout this episode, we also see Harrison really struggling with what he's done and really confronted with visions, and not only of what he did to Dexter, but also what he did to Ryan, which again, love how we're delineating between the two, right? Harrison is not his father. For all of it that may have come genetically, and all of that, and the trauma, inherently he's not Dexter. There is this difference, and while they share similarities, they're not intrinsically the same. And I appreciate that, right? Because it gives us some complexity and depth within the character. I really feel like Harrison is at war with himself, and we know Dexter at this point has made peace with his code, with who he is, with his violent nature, and Harrison is still pushing back against it. I also don't necessarily think that Harrison likes the kill of it all, right? I think he's embroiled in passion and really just feels this moral obligation when he's in the moment. Again, not justifying serial unalivers, y'all, it's a show, but I'm just saying I like how we get to see the two different sides. I like how with Dexter we have this internal monologue, and every time we see Harrison in a fit of passion, we feel it in the room, right? Through the lighting, through the mood, through the music, we feel it differently. And I like how they're doing that because just because they're Morgans, they're not monoliths. And I think that's very, very important. So of course, now that the body has been found and discovered, or at least pieces of it, enter Detective Claudette Wallace, and she is top cop. She is top cop on the block. Now this accent, y'all got to make it make sense for me. What is this accent that she's giving? That's the only thing that's throwing me off with her character. Other than that, I love her. I love the way she's investigating the crime. I love the scene where she's in there talking about the luminol and the bleach and all of that, and Dexter's listening behind the wall, and there's kind of this recognition of her skill and ability and how she is going to be formidable in this. I love that. Love that. I love that. And so now we actually see Harrison babysitting now Elsa girl. Elsa, of course, is the one giving him the rooms that he can sleep in every night. They're besties. She's going to night school and he's helping her with her child. Is this the safest, best thing? Listen, I don't know. I think we need to properly vet people, but clearly he's in the family where people don't get any discernment about the people. And hey, it is what it is. It's the look of pride for me on Dexter's face when he is going through and seeing Harrison go, his work. Because of course he's retracing the steps and he's like, he did a great job. Oh man, he did such an excellent job. But, even excellent jobs, can use some help. And so he's going and just playing cleanup. And we go into the kitchen where Harrison was doing the lion's share of the work and look up and is like, oh yeah, that's not steak. That's not blood from a steak. We know that's not really blood. This is this. And he's scraping and he's got this look of pride on his face. Again, Harrison's having night terrors at this point. Dexter gets towed after following and doing the cleanup mission, and enter Blessing, played by Ntare Guma Mbwa. If you know him as Ronnie from The Shop. If you're watching the Apple TV show Smoke, you see him over there. He's actually working a lot, and I love that for him. But we meet Blessing immediately, and he's like, sorry, but we're having, issues. There's a serial unaliver. We call him the Dark Passenger. Now, why did he tell him the name was the Dark Passenger? Immediately, Dexter's like, ho, who stole my name? Give me my name back. And really, Dexter, this is where Dexter's gonna lose me, because He's really pissing me off at this point because you came here for one mission, which was for your son. And now that you discover there's a serial unaliver who stole my name, that's your primary mission. It's like Dexter forgets everything about why he's really here to go on this mission to find who we know is Big Red. And so anyway, he's talking to Blessing, the rideshare driver, and really ingratiates himself to him, at least Blessing does. And immediately says, well, come over, my friend's gonna be there. You guys can talk. And basically, long story short, Dexter now has a home. He's got a job. He's gonna be doing rideshare. It is what it is. People love Big Dex, and it is what it is. And then later that night, of course, we see Harrison, and he hooks up with this guy, Lance, this black guy. And I'm really curious about the dynamic of this friendship. And is this going to be like a meaningful character in the series? He's kind of just like the guy that Harrison clearly parties with, lets his mind go with. So I'm very interested to see what that's going to be. Now, of course, we still see Kill Bill out here making other offers, dealing with other people. We meet a new serial unaliver called the Clubber, who apparently made requests, and that's against the rules. You don't make any requests. You don't make any requests. You don't have any special terms or conditions. That's not how any of this works. You're out of the program. So the Clubber is mad because he needs the money. Next thing we know, Kill Bill is going upside his head with the club after stole the trophies and took the money back. She's a bad girl over here. I'm not mad. And she looks good. Can we give it up for Uma Thurman? She looks amazing. Better than she's ever looked, in my opinion. So of course, like I said, Blessing invites Dexter over. He gets to meet the other rideshare driver. We get some information. We get to see the actual tape of the unaliver in his attempt to take out Blessing's friend. This friend survived, but we know the backpack. Dexter does his digging and investigation, and we find out who Big Red is, where he works, all of the things. So 3. Okay, and then now finally, as episode 2 ends, the cops are on to Harrison. So keep that in mind. Episode 3, our most recent episode, is entitled Backseat Driver. And Dex has his rideshare. Now, Dex as a rideshare driver is insanity. The man said, well, do you have a bottle of water? What, you want me to take you to the bodega? He said, no, you don't have any here. You don't have this. You don't have that. No. Am I supposed to carry this for you? 3 out of 5. Dexter says, oh, that's a great score. He tells Blessing, he's like, oh, no, don't take any more rides tonight. We need to have a talk because this is not going to do. And so basically, as Dexter's coming home, he invites him in for dinner because Blessing, has this family with a wife, his mom, his daughter, who's an acupuncturist, her boyfriend, fiance, whatever it is. And it's just, family, of course. And Dexter always kind of feels out of his depth and out of his gourd, but for whatever reason, people always accept him. And so I believe the wife mentioned, so how was Miami? How was Miami in comparison to this? And Dexter's like, how you know where I'm from? I ain't told you nothing. And she's like, oh, I run a background check on everybody who comes in here. For $75, you can go to this site and you can get all of the tea. And so Dexter is like, oh, I can use this in the future. I can use this. And so, of course, he was clean. Everything was fine. And I'm thankful somebody doing a background check on somebody, even though it didn't elicit the proper results. I was just grateful somebody is doing their due diligence. Now we see Harrison actually be questioned by Top Cop. Now, in this, it's like, well, we saw him go in the room. He never came out, and we never saw you again that night in the hotel. So what does that mean? And immediately Harrison is terrible under pressure. He's like, I went on a date. No, I didn't. I did this, right? They let him go. Episode kind of goes on. Dexter's still watching from afar. Later, they call him back because, no, we know the full tea, and this is what happened. Top Cop breaks down every single thing that happened. You saw him with this lady who was drugged. You said, not on my watch. You went in there, you took him out, you took the service elevator, you did this, you did that, and you unalived him. What do you got to say? We can help you get off, right? Because this was a justified homicide. We can help you. Then we see Harrison come to himself, and he says, listen, I have a confession to make. I have a confession to make. And they're like, all right, let's go. Let's get the pin back. Turn the recorder on. I'm homeless and I'm living in the hotel. Who can corroborate it? Who's your damn alibi? Get her in the building. I don't want to get her in trouble. I'm not worried about enforcing code 21212. Just trying to solve my case. Top Cop is not playing with nobody. She's on your ass, Harrison. And this is not over. Harrison, I don't know, Dexter's helping, but Harrison is not in the clear. This Top Cop is not going to let it go. I've seen Top Cops in my day on these shows, and I know one when they're a dog with a bone, and that is this lady. She is going to get to the bottom of it and might even get into more, as we see. Oh no, Dex is stalking prey and finding trophies and finding a new hidey hole. He's like, this is perfect. This is nice. We'll see. What happens? Angel gets word on the truck that was stolen, of course, and finds out that, or not the truck, but the old, I think Dexter's old truck. Anyway, he gets a hit on it. There was a speeding ticket. The new sheriff in town, back where Dexter was living, is like, hey, Angel, they found the truck. It was in New York. They got a speeding ticket. Angel's like, I'm on my way. We also get to see Masuka. We see Joey in this episode. And basically Angel's telling them, I'm retiring. I have other things to handle, because Dexter is going to be, I guess, his magnum opus. He is going to solve the Bay Harbor butcher once for all, and there's no getting back from it. It's going to be interesting to see Angel in New York. Is he going to be able to find Dexter? What's that interaction going to be like? I'm definitely interested to see what happens. We actually also see this episode Dexter get an acupuncture session. Now, at this point, this is Dexter's family. There's no getting around it. Dexter's going to have to protect this family by all means. And I'm just waiting to see how they're going to be implicated, because there's always collateral damage here. Always. He's still stalking Harrison, but won't talk to him. Harry, again, is like, Dexter, talk to your son. What if the cops arrest him and he never knows that you came to try to help, save, call, whatever? Meanwhile, Kill Bill is planning a dinner party with dietary restrictions and all. And, you know, there's that. Finally, Elsa comes forward and is basically, well, she doesn't come forward, but they talk to Elsa. He gives the name and says, you know, I don't help a-holes. Harrison is a great guy. He didn't do anything wrong. Yes, he's been staying here, but please don't get me fired. I need my job. And basically later tells Harrison, don't get me involved in no mess. I need my job. I know you didn't do this, so I'm willing to testify and vouch for you, but I need my job. Me and my baby need my job. So she confirms the alibi. And so for right now, Top Cop is going to be quiet. But listen, that's not the end of it. You're not going to make me believe that's the end of it. I know that there's going to be more. Dexter got your ass, Big Red. Big Red, Big Red, Big Red. Dexter's in his element. Now, that was the other thing I just wanted to make a brief note on. In this episode, especially episode 3, we see Dexter really struggling with getting older. And I kind of like that, right? Before we had seen him as spry and active and all of that. And so post 10-week coma, he's really like, dang, did it always take me this long to bounce back? Like, what was it like being old, Harry? Well, Harry doesn't know what it was like to be old. He didn't get to do old, Dexter. Your thinking cap on, buddy. And so basically we're in the ride share with Red. Dexter's the driver. And immediately Big Red goes after it. But Dexter got something for your ass. He got his shot. He done called the vet clinic before. He said, we're back in business. And he's got a thing around his neck so you can't choke him out, buddy. Big Red. What a mistake. But we do find out Big Red's motivation, and it was all about his dad. His dad had a taxi certificate, honey, and he thought he was going to make his millions. And the rideshare services came in, ran him out of business. His daddy jumped into whatever, and somebody took his head. Dexter says, these people ain't responsible for that. Are you nuts? The guy's like, well, that's how I feel. Well, you should have felt too late. I got your ass. And so now we see Dexter. He's got his impromptu kill room. He's got him really wrapped up in a cocoon of sulfate. In there. And of course, he's got to talk. But of course, before he gets, the guy, Big Red, is like, were you the one who took my trophies and dropped the money off? If so, like, listen, we can work this out. Dexter's like, I don't even know who you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you for the tip. Let me go on and unalive you. Bam. And we see the satisfaction. We see the blood. We know what Dexter is like. Okay. And we know this is his first kill post-coma. He's getting back in his bag. So now he's got the invite, the trophies, the bag, the tea, and the thumb. Because we find the invitation. We find out that it's like-minded individuals. They want to share stories. They want to have community and eat good food, I guess. And so Dexter's like, oh yeah, you done set me up with a smorgasbord. Well, yeah, I'm on my way, but I need the thumb. You know, he had already thrown the body in the incinerator, has to pull it out to get the thumb. But alas, we're here. Dexter is officially back in the game. Badder than ever? I don't know. I do know one thing. Harrison better watch his back. Top Cop is not letting off, and I cannot wait until the two collide. We need Dexter, we need Harrison, we need the reunion. Because Harrison's got to answer some questions. And I know, Dexter, that's your son and you love him. Harrison hasn't grown on me yet. I don't know how I feel about Harrison. Drop it in the comments, y'all. Let me know what you thought of these first 3 episodes. This show is cooking. I was so nervous after New Blood. I really didn't like it. I watched it just out of obligation and duty. I felt like as though I needed to because I was a Dexter fan. But this is a joy to watch. It's a joy. You guys drop it in the comments. And if you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Do all of those things for me, okay? Hit the notification bell, that too, so you don't miss a thing. And I will see y'all next week for episode 4 of Dexter Resurrection. Thank you for watching. Have the greatest rest of your day and week.